Good day to you all. This is Broadcasting ADHD Europe, and our guest today is Marina Georgiou from Cyprus, and she will be interviewed by Carola Stivala. Please introduce yourself, starting with Carola, maybe.
Hi, good afternoon. I am a board member of ADHD Europe and also the vice president of ADHD Malta, sport organization for people with ADHD. And as part of our work for the board of ADHD Europe, we would like to interview our member organization in Cyprus, and Marina is representing them today. Welcome.
Good afternoon to everyone. I am Marina Georgiou. I'm the president of ADHD Cyprus the last year. ADHD Cyprus is a voluntary organization and has a board of 9 members. The ADHD organization start from a parent of 2 ADHD children on 2000 in order to offer education, information and advocacy to other parents, teachers, health professionals and the wider public in general.
Very interesting. So how many members do you have at the moment?
We have 150 members.
Okay. And are those all families or also adults with ADHD?
We have families, adults, also some teachers and some professionals.
Okay. So your organization was started in the year 2000, so that is already 20 years plus of existence. Can you tell us a little bit about the past and the present and the future of your organization?
Of course. On 2004, we established we registered as an association with established monthly emotional support and information meetings all over the island, lectures with national and international speakers. We offer a hotline to guide and advise. We make some fundraising events. We have information booklets, leaflets, flyers, and a DVD. All these years, we built good foundations and interactions with other associations. In 2007, we brought the opening of an ADHD center in Nicosia. It was a walk-in center, which offered life skills for adolescents, educational assessments, special education lessons, young adults emotional support meetings. And also we make some focus group in all areas in Cyprus, consisting of a parent, teacher, specialist, psychologic, and pediatrician. All this year until today, ADHD Cyprus develop closer ties with the ministries and ADHD community in Cyprus. We take part to many communities in parliament, like health and education, in order to change in laws for people with ADHD. Also, this year we offer awareness presentations in public and private schools, parent and teacher associations, and we're working together to support families and to relieve the suffering of those persons affected by ADHD, whether they are children or adults.
Very interesting. So those are a lot of different activities. Maybe it's good to mention as well the context in which it started, because probably in the year 2000, there was not a lot of knowledge about ADHD and no medication, maybe even.
Yes, nothing.
No treatment, no specialists. So do you feel that your organization was at the forefront in encouraging specialists to get trained and specialized and to get medication to the island?
Yes, of course, but there are many other things that we have to do. Our goals for the next years are to raise awareness in Cyprus so that ADHD individuals are understood, accepted, and empowered to become active and contributing members of society, because this is the most difficult thing for the other person to understand. Also, we want to ensure that ADHD children receive the timely diagnosis and educational assistance through the Ministry of Education. And the most important is that everybody can understand that ADHD is not something that you can pass or something that has no difficulties, because we face a lot of difficulties every day in our life. Our children, maybe you can understand that have difficulties, but they have a lot, and we know because we live with this.
Yes, exactly. I'm understanding that in Cyprus at the moment there is no national real what you call it, a guideline, a national health guideline, which specifies the rights of people with ADHD?
No, we have to persuade the government to pass a legislation that will recognize that ADHD is a learning, social, and emotional neurodevelopment disorder. They don't understand this, so we managed to pass such a law that they can go and ask for a free diagnosis by experts, fees for different treatments, and medical expenses for ADHD drugs. Also, we want for the adults with ADHD to allow them to work full-time or part-time, because some children go to the school, but because of the difficulties they stop the school, and they can find a job after this because they don't have a diploma. For this reason, we are in a continuous dialogue with the Ministry of Education in order to find the better approaches, or should I say more specific approaches, to address the problem children with ADHD face within the present educational system. Because one example is that the teacher time given per week by special education structures to address their learning is very small. The fixed time is only 2 minutes per week. This is very small amount. Also, at the moment, the ministry is offering only special education service. There is no psychological and medical support for them or their families.
Do I understand then that they have to go to private specialists and pay that themselves?
Yes, at the afternoon they went to the private. In the school, we have only 2 times per week to make special education or logotherapy support. We want to have the special, not the special education law, but we want the inclusion, that all the children can be in the classes with their friends, and to have all the this, that they were allowed to be at the same, to not count discrimination, and to have to understand them with a different way that they understand the lessons, and to have all these offers. The school have to offer this to our children.
Mm-hmm. Is there any research about how many children have ADHD in Cyprus, or do you know of research that's being done?
The last time it was 2 weeks before, we are in the Parliament of Education, the committee, and they say that there are 7% of children in Cyprus with ADHD.
Okay, so they acknowledge that they would have that number of people coming forward and asking for services. Do you have any idea regarding the adults? Do you have a lot of adults knowing about your organization and getting in touch?
Yes, this happened the last years because the most of them are not diagnosed from the early year of their life. So now they understand that they have ADHD and they began to go to psychologists and try to find what happened. There are a lot of people in the last 2 years that contact us and say, how can we take a diagnosis, or how who can do the diagnosis. Unfortunately, Cyprus, we don't have so many people that are specialists in ADHD for adults. This is a big problem for us. We have one of them will be with us to the
AGM?
to the AGM. But actually we need more people to help adults.
Okay. Yes. So it sounds like your organization already has a lot of activities which they have started years ago and are continuing to roll out to the community, and also to teachers and professionals that they are trying to provide support to the ADHD community. What do you feel are the biggest struggles at the moment?
The biggest struggle for the moment is to pursue the government and all the people that they must recognize the ADHD like a difficulty, and not just that something that will pass over the years. And also we need to have an early intervention policy that starts screening children for ADHD from preschool. Once a child is found to have ADHD symptoms, then all the expert that diagnose the child should decide about the child's future educational approach and how to help better in order to solve these difficulties in the after the school life.
Yes, so it is really the fact that specialists are, well, nobody is acknowledging that ADHD is a lifelong condition. So it starts at a young stage, and if you have early intervention in place, you can guide along the individuals according to their needs during their lifetime. What do you think have been the biggest successes for your organization?
I think the biggest success is that many people began to understand what is ADHD, because from 2000 nobody knows this. Thanks to the Mrs. Susan Chrysostomou, now many people know what is ADHD Cyprus. Also, we learned from our experience, and now we are more, we have the knowledge. I want to ask, I want to advocate our members, and we know what we want in order to offer them for have a better life.
Mm-hmm. And do you have, is it a small organization, or do you have a lot of volunteers? How does your how is it formed?
We have a lot of volunteers, and they help us in a lot of ways. We have committees in our organizations. And for example, we have the support groups, and some professional volunteers help us with this. And for adults and for parents, they help on this. Also, we have some other volunteers that help with our website, with events that we organize. The people that have the seminars and the lectures are volunteers. So I think that people help us a lot, because the government, unfortunately, until now, can help to this.
Yes, I have to comment as well on your website, because you have information not only in your local language, but also in English available, I have seen.
Yes, now we are restricting our website, and the English one is not so good. We want to finish with the Greek one because it's not finished yet, and then we will examine again the English because something was wrong. Not all of them, because it's from Google Translation. We have to make again. We will try for volunteers for this also.
Okay, yes. Now, I do think it's wonderful that you have information in other languages available, because I suppose that, like other places, you do have Europeans moving all through Europe who could be living in Cyprus and who also would like information about ADHD. So it's wonderful that you provide that as well. Going back to your struggles and your experiences, while I was getting details regarding what has changed in the last decade, so for the survey of 2020, what came forward about Cyprus is that you don't have the national legislation about ADHD, and also that you have very few medications and that they are often out of stock. Is that still the case in these 2 years? Has anything changed, or do you still have problems with the medication?
No, we don't have problem with medication. I think now we have the medication that people need. The only problem is with the legislation, that we need better laws for the people that are affected by ADHD.
Okay. You are aware of the fact that in other countries, like the Northern European countries, and for instance, I take Malta because I know the context, we have very few ADHD medications, but in Northern Europe, they have a large number of medications, so that the specialists, if they recommend that, and we always propose a toolbox of, a healthy lifestyle plus medication plus therapy, but medication is part of that toolbox. So do you ever feel that it would be beneficial to have more medications?
Yes, of course, but first we have to find the people, the professionals that will tell us about, for example, for the adults. If we don't have the professionals that are specialized in adults with ADHD, how can we offer the medication? So we have to start from the people that will make the diagnosis and after the therapies, and then to make an appointment with the Ministry of Health and ask for the medication. I think it will be very open to listeners.
That's great. So that's the path that you feel ADHD Cyprus will have to walk to support the community. Okay. Is there anything that you would advise to other organizations in countries where maybe they are just starting, they are just beginning to form an organization? Would you have any advice of do this, do that, the good practices?
As an association, all the volunteers and myself try very hard to do our best for the people with ADHD. In many of our efforts, we run into many obstacles and difficulties, while at the same time we try to learn from our mistakes. We have a long way to go to be sure that these things we do is right and to recommend to other associations. I think at this point, sharing our experiences with you is a pretty good tip for everyone.
Thank you. Are there other organizations that you work together with besides being parts of ADHD Europe? Do you frequently interact with other members?
Yes, we are a member of COSAC. We are a member of KISOA. Also, we are a member of PSE, and they help us a lot. Pan-Cyprian Volunteering Council is PSE. We are a member of a National Congress of Paris Annual Conference, Cyprus Youth for Youth Development, and Cyprus Patients Associations, OSAC.
Okay, so that is also organizations that you are part of. Very
Yes.
Yes. Do you collaborate as well with organizations inside ADHD Europe, like with any of the other countries?
We are a member of ADHD Europe from 2010, and we are very happy about this because we take a lot of experience from this. Also, we try now to make an Erasmus program and find ways in order to connect other organizations and all together to try to have better results for ADHD Cyprus.
Very good. That would be very interesting. I think a lot of the members of ADHD Europe are interested in that. Thank you so much. Hans, is there something that you would like to add?
Yeah, I have one question. Do you have an experience with coaches for ADHD or general coaches who sort of help with ADHD or in Cyprus?
No, we listen about this and we are very interested. Actually, we need them, and it's one of our plan to have ADHD coaches in Cyprus. And some people in our organization are interested to make the courses.
Oh,
and,
okay. Great. Yeah, because I, of course, now that we came to Cyprus, I did some research and I found one ADHD coach in Cyprus. And I forgot his name at the moment, but I will tell you his name, then you can connect maybe. He does ADHD business coaching. And that's, of course, understandable because people with ADHD are kind of entrepreneurs, you know, and they dare to start their own business. And he calls himself ADHD business coach. So we'll see, and I will give you his name. But I was curious if there are any coaches that you know of, but not at the moment. So your plan is to develop and maybe offer some courses, etc. Well, that is great for future cooperation between all of us. And Carola has also experience with that. So that's great.
Yes, I think it's a trend currently for many of the organizations that they want to put some kind of support system besides the group meetings. They want to have one-on-one or group support for the adults. And so coaching is something that we could do in a peer support way, and hopefully also further specialization will happen among the professionals. Thank you very much, Marina. We are really looking forward to the rest of our AGM in Cyprus. We're very excited with all the speakers that we will have at the AGM. And once again, thank you very much for having this interview with us.